back, folks. Nice and chilly this morning. 66 in the shop. Colder outside. Still windy, but the doors are shut, so hopefully no cat today. Anyways, it's morning. And all the fuzzy fogginess that goes along with it. All right, we're gonna do some planning and a little bit of thinking, just always dangerous. This is the top to the Lazarus. We're gonna do thinking about the sound hole, not necessarily the sound hole, but the Rosette design, and what there was and what there's going to be. So this hole, 3 3/4 inches across, is the inner diameter. Now the Lazarus came with this just like celluloid binding kind of rosette, and we're not doing that. We got some really cool rosette wood that we're going to look at doing, but first we got to figure out how big this thing's going to be. And how chunky we're going to be with it. So the things that I need to think about is I'm going to have to plot out the inner diameter of this sound hole, and then think about how much wood we're going to want between the edge of the sound hole and the inner diameter of the rosette, and then how thick that rosette's going to be. So luckily I have scrounged around and found some paper and an appropriate book. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this off to the side. We're going to move this here, which is probably going to throw the exposure balance off on that. But anyway, so this, which I've already pre-measured, is the inner diameter of the sound hole. Which is again 3 3/4 inches. So if I want to put another 1/4 inch onto there, let's do like this. If I do another 1/4 inch, that will be just the top wood, the spruce. Now here's my thought. How big am I going to go? I'm trying to keep it somewhat similar. Puts me about in the ring there. I mean, it'll be a much bigger rosette. I'm not so worried about it being covered up by the fingerboard here, and I've got plenty of space. This is where I had to cut to get the wood off of the actual neck block here. So we're wood all the way up to the top here. It'll be covered up with the fingerboard, but it'll be all right. And then one of my daughters opens the door. Hi. What? Okay.
And probably to the library.
Great.
We'll be back.
Okay, have fun. Ah, summer. So now if I go even if I just go 1/2 inch, I'm actually going to go a little more than that. let's do, this is 1/2 inch. If I go 3/4 of an inch, I don't know, let's draw it and see. Will that be too big? Because there's going to be a double layer of purfling sticks, the black white strips. So it'll be black white black white, or white black white black. Not quite sure which one. On both the inside and the outside of that. I actually think that'll be all right. All right, that's what we're going to do. So now we'll go to the next step. Next step is we're going to transfer this pattern over onto our nifty new piece of spruce here. So here's the inner diameter of the sound hole itself. And this is the proposed inner ring of the rosette. Now the proposed outer ring or outer diameter of the rosette. So super faint, but there it is. That's kind of what we're thinking about. So now that we have this laid out, the thought is, actually, let's look here. Because this is pretty close to where we're going to be, right about there. Yeah, it's not bad. All right. So now, our next step, we have to do two things. One, we have to figure out where, we have to pick our piece of wood. We have to select where we're going to cut that rosette out. Figure out how to do that. And then, because there's an outside cut and an inside cut to make the ring to go there. And then the other fun part is then routing this channel out for the rosette and the purfling strips to sit down into it, and then glue the rosette in, level it all down, and then we get to cut the hole out of that. So let's start looking at rosette wood selections. All right. In traditional, probably overthinking, overkill style, here is what I have done. I have photocopied off my tracing, and I mounted it on a piece of a page protector. I just cut a page protector in half. And then I cut out, this is what will be the actual rosette. It's not what I want. What I want is this. I'm one of those people that I'm really easily distracted. So if I'm just trying to eyeball where I want to put this rosette, then I will put my template down or my circle down and start looking, and then I'll see something over there, and I don't want to do that. I want to actually see what I'm looking at, which is the reason that I did it this way. Now, there's not a lot of wiggle room on some of these. So you can see that is what my rosette would look like. Now I'm not distracted by what's here or what's here, because that doesn't matter, because that's all going to get cut out anyways. So I've got a little bit of room that I can kind of look around and see things that I want to include. I got a lot of bird's eyes over here. I've only got a couple over here. I don't know if that's necessarily what I want, so I'll just turn it 90 degrees and look at it. Now, does that look better? Because now I have more, I still have more up here, but they're more kind of concentrated here. I don't know. So now, luckily, all this stuff has got two sides to it. Does that look any better? I don't know, I've got more bird's eyes down here, but then the grain gets really tight up there. That's kind of cool. That's not bad. Turn it another 90 degrees. Let's look at it again. This is the downside of ordering stuff through the internet, from a catalog, wherever. You don't actually get to see, well, in some instances you do. I know that that the place that I have so far gotten my stuff from, RC Tonewoods up in New York, when you're looking at Tonewoods, when you're looking at back and side sets, and you're looking at soundboards, you're looking at the actual soundboard. You know, you're looking at that one. You're not just looking at curly maple arch top, X price. If they have 10 sets of curly maple top wood for arch woods, for arch top guitars, there will be 10 pictures of specific tops. So think about that. You know, when you're looking at it, it's more expensive. I would, at least from a shop owner perspective, because I've got to photograph every one of those, and I've got to have someone dump that into the website, and you got to make sure that when someone buys a certain piece of wood, that it gets taken off. So there's more work on that end of it, but I appreciate that. I know the effort that goes into it, and that's the kind of a place that they're doing that gives me a little more control, and that's something that I certainly want to deal with. So this is just looking at this one piece of maple. Let's move this, and I'll get these pieces of spalted maple out, and we'll talk about that, because that has some other issues that we have to deal with that we don't have to deal with the maple.